Hello, my name is Tim Simmons, and I am a music teacher from Paoli, Pennsylvania. I teach at Delaware Valley Friends School down in Pennsylvania. And I am here to talk to you today about some simple, fun, engaging techniques for using improvisation with students who learn differently. I'm really excited to be here today. So we've got three simple goals for today. We want to discuss and kind of look at some of the places in the brain where music and language intersect. And we're going to be talking about how improvisation kind of taps into those and targets those. I want to demonstrate some simple improvisation games for you. My daughter Emerson is here. She's going to be joining me on camera in a little bit. And we're going to go through some of these simple improvised forms so that you can understand how to do them with your own students. And ultimately, what I'm really trying to do is to provide some resources for you and some inspiration so that you can begin improvising with your students right away. So let's get started. So a lot of musicians talk about what improvisation really means. For me, it's a way of really intuitively engaging students who learn differently in the act of making music. And so I want to start today with a video about what improvisation looks like. And in the video, you're going to see me improvising with a student named Tyler. Tyler is a student of mine at Delaware Valley Friends School. And he is dyslexic. He does not read music. And he's going to be playing the piano in this video. And what's really important to understand about this video is that Tyler does not play the piano. He does not know how to play piano. He's never taken any piano lessons. And yet he is going to be improvising on this instrument with me. I want you to look for a couple of really important things in this video. First, notice how Tyler builds his music. He breathes into it. He plays his sound one note at a time and listens really carefully as he creates a simple melody. And then as I join in on my instrument, you'll see the two of us kind of lock into each other and start to follow each other. And we're following a groove, and we're also imitating each other's melodies. At some point, you'll see Tyler kind of take over leadership of this improvisation and even start to direct me. The most important thing I want you to see in this video is the look of joy on Tyler's face when the improvisation comes to a close. So 10 years ago, I started looking for ways to teach music to students who learn differently. And the reason I was doing this was because I was dividing my time in the classroom between teaching high school English and also teaching music. And I was working with students who have mostly language-based learning differences, dyslexia, ADHD, executive function disorder, auditory processing delays. And I started to see that a lot of the difficulties that I was seeing in the English classroom were really mirroring themselves in really interesting ways in the music classroom. At the same time, I also saw that there were two different students, that who I was seeing in the English classroom and who I was seeing in the music classroom were really two completely different people. And I realized that I had this interesting perspective on these students and this interesting perspective as a music teacher that I had also been doing reading remediation with these students. And so I started to think that maybe there was a relationship in how they were processing language and how they were hearing melody. And so I began to do some research into the places in which language and music coincide neurologically. And through my research, I came to realize what neuroscientist Stefan Kolsch argues, that music is not a language. You know, you hear a lot of people argue that music is a language, but music is not a language. Kolsch tells us that language is a special kind of music. And research really shows us that because of the ways in which language and music are so intimately connected to each other, that training in one area, music, can really impact performance in another area, such as language. And this was the really big takeaway for me from my research. And this is really why we improvise. Improvisation is really fun and engaging, and it's human-centered and it's intuitive, but it's also really rigorous and it's really visceral. And what it really does is it gives the students who are improvising a full kind of body, full brain workout. And it really targets two neurologic aptitudes where music and language kind of intersect. And those two neurologic aptitudes are beat synchronization and melodic perception. So beat synchronization really refers to the ways in which our brain segments streams of sound into chunks of meaning. And our ability to synchronize with a drum, with a groove, is intimately connected to our ability to process language. Melodic perception really refers to prosodic perception. Prosodic perception is referring to something called prosody. Prosody is the melody of language. It really refers to all those kind of minute fluctuations in amplitude and duration and pitch in our language when we speak that really gives language meaning. And prosody is intimately connected to reading comprehension as well as verbal, expressive, and receptive abilities. And it is also really related strongly to melody. So placing students in a situation where they improvise together can really target these two areas. So what I'd like to do is try out some simple improvisations with you. So I've created a curriculum called Song in Everything. And this curriculum is designed to kind of sequentially take you through some really simple forms. And I want to start today with the first 3 forms for showing you how to improvise. And these forms are called One Authentic Sound, the Infinity Loop, and Catch Me If You Can. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. And I'm going to invite my daughter, Emerson, onto the screen. Not yet. This is Emerson. Say hi, Emerson.
Hi.
So Emerson is 14 years old, and she's also a really gifted bass player and musician. Not that I'm biased or anything, but Emerson is here to kind of help me do some improvising, because it really works best when there's a couple people interacting with each other. So I'm lucky that I have a musician living in the house with me. So we're going to start with something called One Authentic Sound, and I'm going to start talking to Emerson now, and I want you to just hear how I direct her, and this will take you through how to do this step. So Emerson, what I want you to do is to stand straight, put your hands at your side, okay? If you're comfortable, close your eyes, okay? And let your arms hang loose, relax. Loosen your shoulders, sway your arms back and forth just a little bit, get yourself comfortable, okay? You okay? Okay, good, all right, so what I want you to do is first really get in touch with your body. And I want you to feel your feet pressing against the ground. Feel the air coming through your body as you breathe. And really just be in the moment for a second. And in that moment, I want you to try not to laugh. And also, I want you to think about what it is you're feeling right now. And just quietly to yourself, I want you to name that feeling. You might be feeling silly. You might be feeling awkward. You might be feeling hungry. Whatever it is, I want you to just quietly name that to yourself right now. Now, what I want you to do, you can open your eyes, is we're going to do 3 authentic breaths, okay? And authentic means when you breathe, you're going to put that feeling into your breath, okay? So you're authentic speakingly to who you are in this moment, okay? And to do this, I'm going to conduct you. We're going to do this sound, which means breathe in and then breathe out. All right, here we go. That's 1. Take a deep breath through your nose and out. 1 more, breathe in Now, what I want you to do is I want you to audibly sigh out loud. Okay, so you're going to go in and good. One more. One more. Good. So we're just making sounds. This exercise is called one authentic sound. So we're really trying to tap into who we are and what we're feeling in the moment. Now, if I could draw a picture of a sigh, it might look like a line that goes down in pitch. Okay? So Emerson, what you're going to do now is you're going to imagine that as you sigh, and you're going to start with your breath, breathe into a sigh, and let that sound slide down into a pitch that you're comfortable with, and then I want you to hold that pitch. Okay? So anyone can make one authentic sound. And if you can make one sound, then you can make two sounds. And if you can make two sounds, then you can make three sounds. And if you can make three sounds, then you're starting to make melody. But it's important to understand this simple fact that all music begins with one authentic sound. So now we're going to apply that to our instruments. Emerson's going to grab her bass. I'm going to grab my guitar. Let's see if we can see ourselves on the camera. And this is called the infinity loop. And this was named by one of my students. And basically, Emerson is going to start this, and she's going to just play any sound she wants on her bass. And then she's going to play another and another until she finds 3 or 4 that she likes. And then she's going to start looping them. And she's going to kind of create a groove out of them, exercising that ability to synchronize with the beat. And when she's ready, she's going to nod to me. And then as her accompanist, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do either imitate what she does, or I'm going to add something new. So this is going to be exercising my ability to perceive the melody and find that melody on my instrument. And then we're going to keep playing together, really just repeating what we're doing until we find a logical place to end. You ready?
Yes.
Woo! Very nice. Beautiful. So that is the infinity loop. Now, what starts to happen with that is it's a really basic form for creating music. This is a structure that I use with my students almost every day. And we've used it to build entire songs. We've even used it to build entire musicals. My students write a musical every year. And this is how we begin. We begin with one authentic sound, and then we start stringing them together into loops, and then we lock into a groove, and then we build from there. So let's do one more form. And this is the next step in the infinity loop. And this form is called Catch Me If You Can. And it basically functions on the simple idea that the infinity loop is cool, but it gets boring sometimes doing the same thing over and over again. So we're going to do the same exact exercise where Emerson's going to begin, and she's going to create a melody and cue me, and then I'm going to come in and imitate or add something new. And then one of us is going to change what we play. And at the beginning, neither of us knows who that's going to be. But whoever wants to can add in something new. Something simple, something small, but something that will change the music and take it to a new place. whatever it is you're feeling in the minute. And then the other player's responsibility is to follow that, to catch me if they can, if you will. So, and then we'll bring it to a logical close again. You want to start?
Sure. I'm going to stick to third position.
Sounds good to me. Now notice, keep going, I'm sorry. I'm just waiting because I have to really listen to what she's playing before I can really jump in. This is the trickiest thing for my students to do. Yes, very good. So Emerson Simmons, my wonderful daughter, on bass and vocals. Thanks, Emerson.
Sure. Thank you.
So there are 3 really simple forms. Start with one authentic sound. Breathe into it and be authentic for what you're saying in the moment. And then simply add a second sound and a third sound and see where it takes you. Lock into the groove and then invite others in. And the choice is always the same for people who join in. Either imitate or add something new. Imitation means pick whatever it is you hear in that music and imitate it. It could be the tone, it could be the rhythm, it could be maybe the melody. And so this is what's really exciting for me about improvisation as a whole, is that it really is scalable, up or down, any level. I use these exercises with my first, second, and third graders who have never made music ever before, and I use it with my high school seniors that I work with who are really advanced musicians. And at each level, I can be really engaged with them, and it challenges them at any level. Also, it really targets those two areas of beat synchronization and melodic perception. So we really are trying to impact language through music. And so for me, it's a kind of a win-win because we get to create, and I'm helping students kind of find their own voice and find who they are in the moment, and to create their own music and to really engage with instruments and with music and the act of musicking in a really engaging and fun way. But at the same time, we're targeting these fundamental skills that are so essential to reading and language processing and focusing attention and executive function, and all this stuff is really exciting. Over the years, I've seen improvisation really bring students to life and really change who they are. Students who struggle to express themselves all of a sudden become songwriters, drummers, guitar players, piano players, singers, people who have something to say through music. And so it really helps them find their voice. So I'm going to share my screen again and go back to my PowerPoint and just bring up my final slide for you. So what can you do about this? What I really want you to take away from this presentation is that I want you to improvise with your students. Get over the fear of being spontaneous and just try it out. And really, if you focus on one authentic sound, you can't go wrong. I always tell my students, you're only responsible for making one authentic sound. Get in touch with who you are in the moment and say that. And if you can do that, you really will begin making music. Also, you can visit my website, songandeverything.com, and if you go there, there's more information than you would need. There's a deep dive into kind of the neurobiology of how beat synchronization and melodic perception works, based on some of the research that I've done. You'll also find excerpts from my guidebook. I've also created a children's story to go along with some of these exercises for younger students, called Seraphine Learns to Sing, and you'll find the text of that story as well as a musical audiobook that's available there that I encourage you to use with your students. Also, I would love to come to you and work with you and help you find ways to implement some improvisation with your students who learn differently. So please reach out to me. I can be reached at tim.simmons@dvfriends.org. Thank you so much, and remember that there really is a song in everything. And I hope today you took away something that enables you to begin creating your own music with your students right away. Thank you so much.